Hey y'all, this is Chandler George, and I just got back in from working out earlier, so sorry if I didn't make this all look right and I'm a little bright. Sometimes that's how I find myself. being bright. Hey, this is September. Actually, it's September the 11th, so please remember it's Patriot Day and the changes that 9/11 did for our country and kind of woke us up, if you will. And speaking of waking up, that's kind of the purpose of this video. I wanted to do this a few weeks ago, and I didn't get it out. I was climbing a mountain in Colorado and doing some things, and next thing you know, here I am. So forgive me for that. We're after Labor Day, and we're on Patriot Day, but it's in September. We have 3.5 months left in the year. We're entering the fourth quarter here shortly. Now's the time to do something if you haven't. If you were in a quandary because of the pandemic, which who knows when that'll officially end, and because of all those changes in your practice or your spa or your business, then you don't have to be. You don't have to be. You can still go forward and do positive things and thrive and do things that make a difference in other people's lives. And I know that's why you became a health provider. That's exactly what you wanted to do, and you can still do that at a high level. And you can do it at a high level while keeping your health and staying well. Now, I had some seminars I was going to put on and come up, and I'll be honest, I put them on the back burner because of not knowing how all this was going to turn out. But that doesn't mean I don't want to serve you as well. I did kind of take a pause because of it. But what I want to do is offer to help you in terms of really true freedom. True freedom, like what happened with 9/11, how it woke us up for true freedom. And true freedom because I feel like we're kind of losing them with what's going on in our country today. And that is like what happened with me as a chiropractor. The way to get true freedom is have financial independence, right? Financial security is one thing, financial independence is better. You probably have financial security because of your med spa, your chiropractic practice, or dental practice, but do you have true financial independence, which is far enough away from the meat cleaver that you can give, you can tithe, you can do whatever else you want to do to your heart's content and still have more money coming in than you ever could actually possibly spend, as opposed to being just financially free or secure, right? So financially independent isn't just about it's not the Dave Ramsey effect, having your house paid off or your car paid off or whatever. While those things are nice, the car for sure, consumer debt, that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. What's more important is to use debt wisely and be in investable assets, primarily forms of real estate, so that you can get tax write-offs, which you need more than ever, and you're getting ready to need probably a whole lot more. You need appreciation. Golly, there's been a lot of that. We probably all think we're rich because of our houses appreciated, though the house down the street did too, right? And so did the whole country. But appreciation, inflation, which erodes the money. But if you look at real estate, you get depreciation, you get appreciation, and you actually get a cash flow. And so, and tax deduction. And so because of all these things, you can really do well in real estate. And so I want to say, well, it's only making X. Yeah, that's not true. It's making X times 4, and it's doing all these other things. And in the years I've been involved in it, approaching a decade now, I've gotten to experience all this. I frankly wanted to teach and share this a long time ago, but never did because I didn't feel like I was an authority or an expert at it at the time. But I certainly think in most of these things, I'm as good as anybody out there, and I am now. So whether it be mortgage notes, hard money loans, performing notes, preferably on homes, and if you don't know what that is, that'll be another video, self-storage, and even some smaller multifamily, and of course rentals, turnkey rentals preferably, but rent homes, and doing that correctly. Now, you might already do all this correctly or some of it correctly, in which case, awesome to you. I wished I had known when I was 24 and starting in practice, so I would have done it sooner, like some of my smart friends did. But I didn't. I didn't know what I didn't know because while I was in practice management and I was getting consulting, it was for my business, which was smart for the goose of the golden egg. But I should have been getting this over here so I knew what to do with that money. Instead, I put the money in places that didn't disappear, but it didn't really grow either. And it might have just kept up with inflation if I was lucky. And I didn't, if anything bad had gone wrong, I didn't really have anything to show for it. It wasn't a stock market because I'm not your stock market guy. I'm not big into putting money into something that could go poof the next day, or you have to always be an accredited investor. It's great to be an accredited investor, but it doesn't mean you have to actually do stuff that's accredited. That just means you could lose it and be okay with it. I'm afraid I wouldn't be okay. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a couple things. I'm going to be doing a group course. It'll still be a small group, but a group course on real estate 101, basically. Real estate to do with rentals, how to go about it, my story, how to acquire, how to turn around and sell, the different numbers you should look at. And we'll do it as a group, and it will be an affordable course. I expect to charge $2,000 or $3,000 for it. And it'll be a course that'll take you all the way through it for you do-it-yourselfers, right? And it will give you all the information that you need. Be about 8 modules long and probably about 12 hours of information. Now, you can take that and get started right here today. Of course, things change over time, somewhat the variables, but if you understand the numbers and the variables, you can do it. I will give you handouts, I'll give you literature, I'll give you a lot of different things to back everything up I say. Now, the other option is you can work with me one-on-one. That's obviously very limited, but you can work with me one-on-one, and that'll be my traditional consulting fee for that. And that's where you will literally come with me to where I invest. Field trips, if you will. We'll spend time together. We'll talk every couple of weeks for up to an hour on the phone working on these things together, using primarily Zoom so we can record it. You can see my screen, I can see yours, and fully understand it. Now, I know for me, that's the best way because I'm very hands-on, and I was in multiple consulting groups myself and want some one-on-ones to learn the real estate because I just like hearing it over and over and different things. And also, it's about relationships, how to secure these relationships. And also risk. How much risk are you willing to tolerate? Because you can make a lot more money with certain risk. Or, like me, not willing to tolerate a lot of risk, so I do things very conservatively. But if I was younger and hadn't spent most of my life in practice, I probably would have done stuff a little bit more risk, where I would have done syndications and things like this in apartments or storages and other things like this. But at this point in my life, that doesn't sound like something I probably would want to do, even if I can do it. But we're going to get into these things. So if you've ever wondered about that, or you're looking for your next life, or you're wondering, is it too late? No, it's not too late. To build these things and to turn around and make them work for you, I would tell you there's some properties I bought just 3 years ago that because of this crazy appreciation, actually 2.5 years ago, they've gone up 38, 40, 45%, and things like that in other states, right? I live in Texas, but these were in other states. And it wasn't the East and West Coast where you kind of expect it. These were places that traditionally they don't do like that. So lucky me, really, because it could have been just 3% of appreciation. But when you slant the ladder in your favor, you have a greater chance of these awesome things starting to happen. And then you have opportunities. You can cash out, you can refinance them. If they got any good debt on them, it's good debt. You can turn around and just sell them outright, or an MLS, what was a rental. You could sell them to other investors. You can even sell a whole portfolio when you have, a slew of houses, think 10 or more, that you're able to then sell the whole thing, right? And somebody's still buying an apartment complex or a storage building or whatever, or a commercial strip center, they'll buy all those homes as a package deal. It happens all the time. And these are great ways that you can stay up ahead of inflation. So important now, because even if you say, well, Chandler, I make $1 million. Well, that's great because you're going to need to make 1.3 next year to be the same, probably, if it's based on anything of this past year. That's just to keep up. And so it's good if you can do it passively and have it going for you automatically in a different way. Now, I'm going to have other experts come in and speak as well, because certainly there's other people with varied backgrounds beyond mine that would be great to have this work. I will have seminar or a 2-day meeting on it. Initially, I had one scheduled on self-storage, but kind of pulled it back, and it was focused just on self-storage. This actually is going to be focused for where you doctors can get into it here and the now, meaning single-family homes, where it's most affordable, or basic notes, things that are, $50,000 and up, if you will, to be able to invest and be able to do things, right? So that's kind of where you're looking at. And you go, yeah, well, I'm only 30. I don't have enough money. I haven't put aside because I got wife and kids and all these different things. I'm going to tell you, you still need to start learning. And I didn't on this sort of stuff then. And I should have. I so should have. And could have made a major difference because time is certainly on your friend when you do this. I did do a lot of investing in seminars, but it was in things that didn't have those four components of beating the inflation and the appreciation, and the passive income and all this. It was just passive income. And so, it actually was mini bonds. You might remember those mini bonds, like the Whitehall method would teach us. So I'd make, this wasn't in the 80s. This was more in the 90s, or more current, 4.4%. Well, okay, you save it off your taxes, you really make 6.5%. It's not horrible, 6.5%. And you don't have to do anything, but it's not going to get you to freedom very quick unless you have 5, 6, 7 million, which most of us aren't going to net out and put aside 5 or 6 or 7 million unless you inherit it or something, right? So how can you get there on less money quicker? Where are you going to have returns of 10, 12, 13, and even an aggregate of those four different things, at least a 14% a year. And you can certainly do that and be conservative with it. So I want to help you with that, and I would love to help you with that and show you. I've had some questions even today about that. Here it is on a Saturday. We will also dive in a little bit to the storage, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. For the one-on-one folks as we go, certainly I would spend a lot more time on that because that involves a field trip to our storage and very much in-depth knowledge for those who'd be looking to either buy one or sit one up or wanting that kind of knowledge. And so that's, a little bit different, but we certainly will touch on it. So I'm going to have all these things wrapped up. If you're at all interested, please email me at catchfirecoaching@gmail.com, catchfirecoaching@gmail.com, and just say you're interested in the real estate. And you say, well, why me? Well, I can tell you because I call myself the accidental investor. I was not the math genius. I was a chiropractor, like a lot of y'all. I was focused on serving. My dad was a chiropractor. No one in my family were big real estate people. They owned their own physical business, my mom and dad, bricks and mortar, and they did have one rental for a few years. But it was like the stories you hear, it was horrible. We had to paint it, we had to scrub it, we had to do everything. It was close to our house. It was a freaking nightmare, and I'm not sure it made any money until the day they got rid of it, right? So that was my experience. Hence why I guess, like a lot of people, I wasn't that interested. So I can tell you that was just the wrong way of doing it because they didn't get educated either. You don't want to be like that. I will go over my friends and their things that they have going on that in terms of real estate and even certain books that hopefully you've read it. If not, we can go over. So all these things will be combined in this, and my consulting is very affordable, especially compared to many in the real estate world or the real estate world that we're seeing out there. I'm probably half what they typically are. And I'm an education company. I've been in the education business now full time for 16 years, Catchfire Coaching. And before that, I was doing primarily practice management for other groups around the country. But this has been my own. During that time, we've covered many different things from practice management, internet marketing, and a lot of things on marketing and growing and scaling and selling a practice. But all that leads to what? Hopefully it all leads to time freedom, right? And family freedom so that you can do the things you want while you're still young enough to be able to do them. And when the world gets crazy, that you have options, that maybe you didn't before. But if you didn't prepare for these things, then certainly your options might be limited. The world's going to continue to be crazy and probably crazier as time goes on. So we need to learn about these particular options. When I do set up the seminar, again, this is already September, so it may or may not be before the end of the year. It depends if I get at least 10 people to sign up before then. I'm just going to charge $597. I'm just going to charge $597 on a simple form that I have set up, and then you can just do it that way. But the quickest and easiest way or whatever is getting to the group, which is going to be $2,997, just under $3,000, $2,997. And with that, I'm going to be sure you get everything that you need. We'll have bonus materials and that you fully understand all that you possibly can, and videos. And and if you're around or in certain places within for possibly we can figure out some other way that you can even see stuff on hand if you're an on hand learner like I am. But one-on-one is going to be, like I said, limited for the ones who just want to buy speed, basically, get there quicker, faster, see it for themselves, touch it, and actually go to different sources. They can start investing immediately, because you got the money waiting and it needs to be working for you. It truly does, or not, right? So I won't be bringing a lot of them to the seminar, though some will come where you can meet them and get to know them and see if that's a fit, because I think the best way to get to know them is in their turf and in their world to see what really goes and if it makes sense with your money to be able to do something like that. Because if it doesn't make sense, you shouldn't do it. Everyone has to be comfortable in their own skin or be able to explain it to their spouse. And again, there's probably a couple or more different ways of skinning this particular cat, but I'm going to give it to you from how we've done it, and I feel like I have learned from probably the best in the country, if not the world, during this particular time that we've been able to manage at work at the same time while I was consulting on internet marketing, scaling, and businesses and all that, and really keeping quiet on everything that we have been doing in terms of real estate. But I get asked about it a lot because a lot of people are looking to, I hate the word retire, but they're looking to transition out of one life into the next while there's still time. Because we've seen a lot of our friends and loved ones pass this past year. In fact, I've lost 8 loved ones, and not one was COVID, but 8, including my dad. So it gets you really to thinking, right? And you can't take anything for granted. So you want to leverage this. And I know some, because of the appreciation of homes, have sold their homes, now have the bucket of cash. And Lord of mercy, before you go out and spend it or stick it into another house to live in, you need to come to the seminar or you need to join the group program. I'm going to tell everyone start there unless you're already a client or you've been a client of mine before, and then you can go ahead and go into the one-on-one. But if not, I'm going to say start there so that you fully understand the basics, because when we go one-to-one, we get extremely deep. And I expect you to be investing and do some action and some things quick. I expect that really in the group program too, but I realize everyone's in different places and it's affordable enough. If you don't, it's all good, right? It's going to be evergreen in such a way. So if this interests you, be sure and email me at catchfirecoaching@gmail.com, or feel free to leave me a message at 817-939-8435. 817-939-8435. You're hear my wife's voice, and it'll say Catch Fire Coaching and all that. And go about that way, and we can just get you started. You can start at any point in time. It's going to be online learning, but I'm also going to do it live. I'm going to do it live. So there's going to be an online where you can go access it 24/7, but I'm also going to be covering it live via Zoom and recording those so you can ask live questions and go over things in real time. I think that's extremely important. I know it makes a big difference in my learning. The more senses I can use to be able to do it. So I want that for you as well. When I do the one-on-one, it's typically also through Zoom and recorded for you. I keep it up for you in Vimeo, and then you can access it whenever you want. We go over these things, the spreadsheets, whatever we need to make it work. We have a set agenda. Of course, it needs to be around your dream, your build. Also in the 1 year, we'll have it where we'll meet somewhere or even meet at my house, and we'll spend 5 or 6 hours just working on your dream, your plan, that make it come alive, 5 year, 3 year, 1 year, to do with your passive income flow. Because a lot of you probably have something already doing something. And so maybe you should keep it, maybe you should roll it into something, maybe you should do a mix. Also, self-directed IRAs and Roths. So a lot of people think you can't invest into Roths unless you make like less than 150 or 100 or something, but it's simply not true. It's just knowing how to be able to do that. So we'll go into all those things because you might want to be able to fund a grandchild's college, and how can you do that tax-free? You might want to be able, for yourself, or maybe even a child who's now in their 30s, be able to have them get set up that way and grow tax-free, and then at 59 and a half, my goodness, they got all this money. Because you're able to put real estate into it. And everything I just mentioned, you're able to put into those self-directed IRAs or a Roth, grow tax-free. So if it's making 14, 15, or whatever percent it's actually making, and there's no taxes on it because you paid the money up front and there's no taxes, right? Because you took care of it up front, so there won't be any when it comes out. And then, 59 and a half, you can access it as long as it's in there 5 years. So these are the things that you want to do and do early, because it will be a life change, not just for you, but for you, your loved ones, your entire family, and everyone else that you can then share with it on the backside. Hey, y'all have a blessed Saturday, and if I can help you in any of this, let me know. It's the fourth quarter of 2021. It's time to take action.